Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 favourite horror movie posters. Now this used to be the deciding factor when I used to go to the video store and rent some videos out for over the weekend. Just by looking at the cover I knew that's the movie I wanted, and horror movies tended to be the best artwork, didn't they? And I think a lot of people have got nostalgia for horror movie VHS covers, posters, whatever, because they just looked awesome and all the detail was in there. They were trying to draw you into it. So I just wanted to go over, for a bit of fun today, my top 10 horror movie posters. Now, it's not a deciding factor how good the film is, it's mainly just due to the artwork, but most of these films are pretty good in my opinion. But I've just got a couple of honourable mentions there, so let's just get into them. First up, we have The Evil Dead. I used to think that looked awesome with that big hand coming out the floor there and dragging that woman basically down to hell, is what it looked like. I always wanted to see that movie. I didn't get to see it until I was about 15 when it came to DVD and I started buying horror DVDs. But I think that's a pretty good looking one and one of the most famous ones out there, I feel. Next up we have Maniac. I didn't include this one because I have not seen the movie yet, unfortunately. I know that is sacrilege. I should have seen this film by now. I think it got banned over here in the UK years ago, but I will have to seek that movie out and see it. But the guy just standing there with a knife and holding that woman's decapitated head, it doesn't scream much more horror than that now, does it? Next up, we have The Hitcher, one of my favourite horror movies. I love the big shocked eyeballs in the mirror there with the Hitcher just standing there with his arm out. I think that's a pretty cool poster that basically tells you this is going to be a road rage movie. And lastly, we do have The People Under the Stairs. I just like that big skeleton, the big skeleton face, the skull, should I say, above the house there. And we all know what goes on in the house, just underneath there. And it's quite similar to another movie poster that I've got in the top 10. That's why I included this in the honourable mentions. So let's just get into it now with number 10. In 10th place, we do have House. Now, I remember going to the video shop with my dad and there was 4 of these damn things. They were always on display and each one of them had something different happening with the hand on the cover. Like the second movie had the two-piece sort of sign, I think, and the third one had a big hand reaching out the VHS cover, and I was just always intrigued to watch these. Now, the reason I'd never picked them up, I think my dad said to me they're meant to be silly films, they're not really true horror films and stuff, so I always made the pass on them and went with something else. When Arrow Video released these on Blu-ray, I snapped them up straight away because I instantly remembered that I always wanted to watch them when I went to the video shop. And there's lots of horror stories that take place in houses, isn't there? And it's just the title, House. That sounds like a true horror movie to me, even though it is a horror comedy. My dad was right. But it just says on it, horror has found a new home. So I was like, I want to go in this house and just see what it's all about in the movie. And it's an okay movie. I would like to review all these one day on the channel, the whole franchise, and rank them. They're kind of fun movies. I love the second one even more than the first. But I just love this cool, simple horror design. Just this hand ringing a doorbell. That's kind of zombified, if you like. Just think it looks awesome, to be honest. So number 10 is House. Coming in at number 9 is going to be what some people consider to be the best horror movie poster, and that is Fright Night. Look at the artwork on this. That is absolutely amazing. I love this big vampire sort of face coming out of this house. It's kind of looking down on the house there, and something's going to happen within the house, you think, or does this thing live in there? It's just a really cool cartoonish feel, and most of the VHS covers back in the day had this kind of cartoonish look, if you like, these hand-drawn posters. But this one is definitely one of the best. And it says, if you like being scared, this is going to be the night of your life. I never actually rented this one from the video shop. I only ever watched it when my friend Kyle said, look, I've got Fright Night. And I was like, oh yeah, I always used to see that in the video shop. I'll watch it with him. And it's a pretty cool movie. A really good vampire tale there. But it definitely promises what it has on the cover. It delivers. It's all taking place in this little neighborhood, hence the house, and there's a vampire sort of living next door there. So Fright Night as well is just a cool name for a movie. It just basically says, this is horror. So I absolutely love this one. I love all the blue on it as well. The blue on the design of the vampire there. Just think it really makes it pop and stand out. So this is definitely one of the best horror movie covers, or posters should I say, ever, I feel. And I had to put it in this top 10. Next up we have Hellraiser. Now when I was a kid, it was like 8 or 9, I was only just getting into horror, and I gave this one a hard pass because I was struggling with films like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. They used to terrify me. Friday the 13th, man, that movie goddamn terrified me. So I just weren't ready to watch a movie called Hellraiser with this guy with pins in his face. I just thought, if that guy's in the movie, I don't think I'm going to be able to look at the screen. And now I'm not easily scared by horror. You know, it just comes natural to me. But back in the day, just getting into the genre, I struggled a little bit. And weirdly, Pinhead is not hardly even in this film. I wouldn't even say he's the main villain. It's more to do with Frank and Julia and the main villains. But he's definitely the best looking thing about the film. He's one of the best horror movie villain designs I think I've ever seen. I mean, just look at him. He's incredible. But him holding this box and having this title Hellraiser, it says, "I'll tear your soul apart" underneath. I was like, yeah, I'll watch this one. I'm a little bit older, I think. But I used to love this one because kind of like the house movies, they were all very similar with the hand on the front. This one just had Pinhead staring into the camera for Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3. In fact, these are way more similar than the house movies when you think about it. They all went off this first poster and went with that design because Pinhead is definitely the main draw of this film. I imagine lots of people went to the video shop back in the day and just picked this one up just by going with that cover. So, yeah. For this one, I gotta put Hellraiser. Next up, we have Friday the 13th, one of the very first horror movies I ever watched. And this movie terrified me when I was a kid. I look back at it now and laugh, but this poster is incredible. You got Friday the 13th written right across the bottom there, which is known to be an unlucky day of the year. You know, horror aficionados kind of look forward to this day and Halloween and stuff, don't they? So it's a famous day. It's a great movie title to have for a slasher film. And imagine 1980 people were going, Friday the 13th, I gotta see that. When slasher was sort of coming at the top of its game there. And it says the tagline, they were warned, they are doomed, and on Friday the 13th, nothing will save them. So basically it got it all there for you. But not just that, we got the silhouette of this killer with a knife in his hand and a little bit of blood dripping off, and we got the camp inside this silhouette with the full moon, and it kind of just looks like these people have got nowhere to go because there's trees everywhere. It just feels like, even though it's a big open area, it's isolated, and this killer knows where every piece of dirt, every track of land, this killer has got it all scoped out. That's what it feels like. And it's basically promising that there is a killer going around the woods at this camp, and it is on Friday the 13th. So the movie poster basically tells you everything you need to know about the film. I just love this design. I think it's fantastic. So that is Friday the 13th. Next up, we have the 1990 miniseries, Stephen King's It. Now, I've got it on my t-shirt there, as you can maybe see that. This is one that drew me in more than most others in the video shop back in the day. It's just this white poster that's being ripped in the corner there with this big white clown with the big red pieces of hair coming out of his face and a red nose and the big red words "It" written across it there. And Stephen King's It, should I say, which is a horror writer I knew about when I was a kid back in the day. But this just stands out so much. The red just pops so much with the white. And it's a more simple movie poster. It's basically just got this killer clown on the front there and his little claws ripping this paper, this white sheet basically. And I always used to think to myself, man, I need to see this movie. It's a film about a killer clown and he looks like that. I loved the design of the clown. And this was actually one of my most watched movies growing up as a kid. Even though it's a 3-hour-long film, I used to watch it constantly. And one of the reasons for that is when I had a very small VHS collection, you just kind of watch the same ones over and over when you're a kid. There was no internet, there was no streaming back then. And this one every time I picked it out, I used to look at the cover and go, yeah, I'm going to watch it now. It used to draw me in, even though I'd seen it. So I just think this is one of the fantastic movie poster, and definitely one of the more famous ones as well. Tim Curry is just awesome as Pennywise there, and he's just smiling at the camera there, saying, come on, play me. You know, this movie poster has to pull you in now, doesn't it? That's what he's sort of saying to you. So yeah, I had to put it in there. Coming in at number 5, we do have The Exorcist. Now, back in 1999, I believe it was, The Exorcist was a film that was not allowed to be seen by anyone. I think it was banned here in the UK. And they decided to bring it back to cinemas after the whole video nasty era. I don't think it was a video nasty, but they banned it anyway because people were too scared. After all that had passed by and people were starting to really get back into horror again, they decided to bring this back out, and they released it at the cinema. I think it was the director's cut, where you got Reagan going down the stairs backwards like the spider walk. But this was the first sort of time that I thought, yeah, I'm going to actually watch this film now. And I was always intrigued about this movie poster. You got to remember, like I said, there was no internet back in the day and stuff. I couldn't really look up too much about the film. I just heard that it was the scariest film ever made. And when they were bringing this back out, I used to look at this movie poster and just go, what is going on in that bedroom there? Who is this guy with the suitcase who's turned up to the house? Is he the bad guy or something? I had no idea he was the priest. But I just love how, you know, this is one of the most infamous movie shots in horror history. And they thought, yeah, we're just going to use this as the movie poster. And it totally works. It's become massively famous now, this poster. And I just feel like the whole beam of light coming down onto the priest, it's kind of saying, like, this is the beacon of hope, really, that could maybe stop this evil within that bedroom. So it's an interesting one. It's kind of not like many of the other movie posters here, especially the kind of hand-drawn ones and stuff, especially using a full-on movie scene for the poster, but it totally works. And the word The Exorcist is another great movie title now, isn't it? So yeah, I always wanted to watch this one, and when I finally got round to it, I don't remember this being as, you know, that scary, in all honesty, even though I did kind of struggle with horror at the time. I don't remember this one being too terrifying, but this movie poster is just so fitting for the film. So yeah, I had to put The Exorcist in there. Next up, we do have A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. I couldn't do this without a Freddy Krueger movie poster now, could I? Now, I might be wrong here, but definitely in the UK, these posters only came out when they brought the VHSs back out as like a remaster. Because I owned a VHS cover back in the day. I'll put it on the screen right now. And this was the VHS I owned. But this one I feel is much better. So when they brought these movies back out, I snatched at this instantly. Because I wanted to get all the new Elm Street movies with their new covers and stuff. Now, after seeing the film, this poster is just one that is, you feel like it's so fit into the movie, because you got the house at the bottom of the screen here, which Kristen is always messing about with, you know, with the matchsticks and stuff. She makes that house like a model house, but in her dreams she goes into it. And then you got Freddy, you know, the face of him at the top there with the claw coming out, and it's like these characters, the Dream Warriors, who, as we know from the movie, are walking up the claw towards Freddy to battle with him like they do in the movie, and they're all sort of taking their dream the way they are in the dreams. They're, I wouldn't say superheroes and stuff, but they do their own thing in a dream. Like, they are able to create their own weapons and costumes and stuff, which is one of the best aspects about the movie. And I like the way they're all in them designs. They're walking up to Freddy to take him on. I just think this is an awesome movie poster. It's such nice artwork. It basically has the whole film, not the whole film, but lots of details about the film in there. And it just totally works for me. Out of all the remastered Freddy posters that they did, I thought this was the best one. Even though one's pretty good as well. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of my favourite horror movies ever. And I'm just glad it has such a cool looking poster to go with it. Now, I'm thinking about getting this poster actually in my movie room, and I want to get a t-shirt with it on. That's how good it is. So Nightmare on Elm Street 3 had to be in there. Number 3, we do have Jaws, one of the greatest movies ever made. I can imagine looking at this poster back in 1975 and going, yeah, I'm going to see that. It was one of the very first blockbusters. In fact, I think it was the very first blockbuster, and I imagine lots of people went to see it just because of seeing this poster. It's so simple, but it just totally works. And it's kind of like The Exorcist, where it's a scene from the movie, although changed around a little bit, but this is the first scene of the film where this shark is just coming up from the water to pull this girl down, you know, into the depths with her. But I love the design of the shark. The whole blue stands out with the writing of Jaws. What a great title that is. And you just feel like this woman has got no chance of survival going by this movie poster. You know that shark is just going to come up directly beneath it and take her out. It absolutely just screams terrifying ocean now, doesn't it? And this is one of, sometimes simple is better, I feel. It is. But yeah, great shark, helpless victim, Jaws written in red. Sometimes simple is better, and this is at number 3. Number 2 is going to be The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, just say that title to yourself, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is there a better horror movie title than that? I highly doubt it. This was very nearly number 1. There's just something about number 1 that draws me in every time, but this very nearly became number 1, and it's got who will survive and what will be left of them. Then you look at that image there of Leatherface with this chainsaw and this woman just hanging on a hook, and you're like, I've got to see this movie. You know, I've got to see this guy running around with a chainsaw fucking people up. That's what the title suggests, and that is what the image suggests. And it's not quite like that. It's actually not as violent as you'd think, but this scene does actually happen in the movie, even though a lot of it is off camera. You do actually see this girl getting picked up on the hook. And it also says America's most bizarre and brutal crimes, and what was real is as real as the movie. And it's got you thinking, is this actually a true story? When you look into it, it was all based on Ed Gein, although so, you know, slightly based on it. I don't think he was running around with a mask on. But it just screams, come and watch me, doesn't it? And I think back in the day, you were either definitely going to go and watch this and you had to see it, or you were absolutely terrified going by this poster and you had no chance. I just think it's got everything. The words, the title, the subtitles, the taglines, and the image all just come together perfectly now, doesn't it? So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man, very, very close to being number 1. What an incredible movie poster. Number 1, though, is going to be Child's Play 3. Yes, maybe a surprise to some, but man, there's just something about this movie poster that just pulls me in every single time. It's not even my favourite Child's Play movie. That will go to number 2. But just how evil Chucky looks on this. I mean, look at his face with the blood coming out of his mouth, the big, gigantic, evil eyeballs that he's got. I don't know what it is. I just love this hand-drawn picture of Chucky. It just basically says, come and watch me. And it's Child's Play 3, which we just had a great one with number 2. So I wanted to see more of this villainous doll. I imagine most people did back in the day. And it says, look who's stalking, which is a cool little tagline. Now, I know this probably isn't the best movie poster here, but for me, there's just something about it. I love the colour on it and everything like that. I've got a t-shirt with it on. Now, back in the day, this movie was very frowned upon in the UK. I don't think it was quite banned, but video stores and stuff would not have this on their shelves because there was a murder of a young boy here back in 1993, I believe, when this movie came. I think this movie came out the year before. I might be wrong. But it came out around the same time, and lots of people blame this movie for the killing, even though it was never really proved. I don't want to get into all that, really, but I remember this was just a very hard movie to come by. You could never, ever find it. But I always knew of this movie poster because I kind of watched documentaries and stuff on video nasties or movies that got banned, and I remember watching a documentary on this killing and stuff, and I was like, is this movie really that bad and stuff? And one day I just went into my local HMV and they brought them all back out again on VHS, and I just seen it. I went, here's my chance to watch this damn thing. The movie, that is not the main reason about the movie poster or anything, but I just remember that moment when I seen it and went, I'm finally going to watch this now. I just think it's a cool looking movie poster. It's just got everything you want from a Chucky film, just how evil Chucky looks. You know, look at him. I mean, it's just, that draws you in, man. And Chucky is one of my favourite horror movie characters of all time. And I just think this is the best he's kind of ever looked on any movie poster. I just think it looks awesome. So I had to put Child's Play 3 as number 1. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this horror movie posters video. What are your favourite horror movie posters? Leave them down below and I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. If you want more top 10 horror movie videos, they'll be in the link down below as well. So thank you so much everyone. You all take care and I'll see you all in the next video.